the purpose of this video is to demonstrate the importance of getting these rails parallel, and the fitment that exists on the Z plate from the factory. These are the factory holes in the Z plate. I made these holes and tapped them. Actually, these are the old router mount holes. I enlarged them and tapped them to 1/4-28, and then I put 2 more in here for a part that I'll get to in a second. But the purpose of me is to mount these rails on the Z plate. And the video, as good as it is on the assembly, I don't think covers the criticality of getting these rails parallel, because if they're not, if they're canted, and I'll go to the extreme so you can see I'm pushing this one in and that one in, and the fitment allows them to be canted like that. When this gets bolted up to the X plate, this thing can literally be frozen. I mean, or have very raspy movement. It's not smooth like you have here, which of course, because the rails aren't bolted yet. But where I'm going is, I came up with a method to get parallel on the rails as I tighten down these button heads. And here I cut some hardwood, and I measured, what I needed from a fitment perspective. So there's my extreme to the inside. As you can see, the piece doesn't fit. There's my extreme to the outside. You can see the piece fits fine. And notice my extreme to the inside, I've got maybe 30-second. I know I'm at an angle, but maybe I got a 30-second of length here on my spacer. There you go. And now if I take the fitment and go to the extreme outside, I literally have, I don't know if you can see it, but I have probably a 30-second extra there. So, we need something, some kind of gauge, I think, should be sent with this unit to the purchaser for assembly purposes only, to get the perfect parallel assembly of these rails on the Z plate before we take it and bolt it up here. So that's kind of where I'm going. Now, my point is, these are exactly the same. I had them taped together and I cut them to the exact same length. So I can put, this was the first one. I can take this one and put it in. You can see I have the same, I mean, these are within a couple of thousandths to be the same length. So I cannot get this piece in up here when I have one in down here. So my point of doing this, demonstrating this is, and I'm not faulting Millwright here, not at all, but this just demonstrates that you can't rely just on the fitment of the holes and then take it to an extreme and tighten it, because even at that, I'm not parallel. I am not parallel by taking these to the extreme of their fitment, which is established by the clearance hole in the Z plate, and getting this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten both of these, maybe a 30-second. I'm going to shorten these slightly with the sander. I tape them together, I put them on the sander, sand both ends, get them right, and then I'm going to come back and hopefully I'll be able to get them both in, top and bottom, within the fitment of these clearance holes. And then once they're in, I hold it together and I tighten the screws. And then I have parallel rails that I can bolt up to the X plate. And I should get just as good a movement as I have right here with floating rails. Okay, I'm back, and what we've done is, you saw in the previous video how the fitment, meaning the clearance holes to the bearings, allowed a block to be put in at the bottom, but not the top. So the fitment had the rails were not parallel just due to fitment. So within the tolerances of the fitment, so in other words, I had about a 30-second of play in that fitment, if you recall, total. I put taped these two blocks together again, and I just touched them on my disc sander on each end. And I probably took, you know, a few thousandths off the length of these. And now I get one in here. In fact, that's going to fall out. It's not screwed in here, down here yet. And I get the other one. The other one would fit in up here. And I did this on the table. I'm going to let go of this Z plate, bring it down to the stop. And I did this on the table before I brought it up to the X plate to put these two bolts in, these 4 bolts in, like Millwright advises, and leaving the bottom set still plugged. Wow, that plug about fell out. So, where am I at? I'm at demonstrating to you that I did get my blocks at the right length. This one is a few thousandths, I'm a few thousandths wider down here than I am at the top, but I might still be able to pull that in, and I can, as I squeeze it together. And you can see as I squeeze it together, you saw that drop. So that's where it wants to go for even a better fit. So I'll do that when I put these screws in, but I'm not at that point yet. I gotta get my lead screw in. I'm just, I wanted to restart the video and show you that I really think these, you know, homemade spacers here, and you can make these when you put it together, but again, it'd be nice if Millwright just included some scrap pieces to do this, to serve the same purpose, so that when we attach the bearings to the Z plate, that when it's on the bench, as I had it before in the previous video, that we get these rails parallel at that time, and then it makes this go a lot better. And now I'm going to go ahead and put my my lead screw in and get this secure so I can put these in down here, these screws. So yeah.